All right. Today on the Best in BA podcast, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Megan from BA Neighbors.
Yeah.
And I told her before this, I don't know a whole lot about BA Neighbors. I've heard the name dropped in a lot of different settings, but that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to serve as the executive director for the last almost 6 years at Broken Arrow Neighbors, and I started there right during the middle of the pandemic. And so I have always said I've had the opportunity to learn and make Broken Arrow Neighbors grow out of what was very tumultuous times and a lot of people in need to what it is today. And what it is today is a amazing, comprehensive community resource center right in the heart of the Rose District and right in the heart of Broken Arrow. We've been there for the last 43 years. So there's so many things that we do at Broken Arrow Neighbors. So
so where do we even jump in first?
Absolutely. So I always say the heart and soul of what we do is our food program. And that makes sure that people have exactly what they're needing. And so we've got lots of facets to our food program, but the heart and soul is our Neighbor's Choice Curbside Pantry program. So people are able to call Broken Arrow Neighbors that are in need and say, hey, I need food. And so we're able to go through a list with them of all the foods we have available. It's a 100% client choice. And that's really important to us. So whether they want green beans or black beans or tomato soup or chicken noodle soup, the other piece of that is that we have a dietary friendly shelf. And so I know how important it is to make sure that clients have exactly what they need. I personally live with type 1 diabetes, so I know how important it is to have gluten-free, sugar-free, low sodium, all the things like that some other food pantries may not have. You may just get what they have. And we want to make sure that every client goes home with what they or their family is needing best for them.
That's awesome. So someone calls when they're in need and you guys have the resources. I mean, we can talk more. I want to talk a lot about like the logistics of how everything is run there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very curious, and all nonprofits are, face their own struggles, right?
Absolutely.
But let's just jump in. I want to really just start on this, and we'll end with it too. But
Okay.
I really want to start on like how can the community support what you're doing, a cause that is so ingrained in the community?
Absolutely. There are so many ways to get involved. And I say the easiest way, the easiest and free way is to share our social media. We are incredibly active on social media. So whether we're posting that we have an event coming up or whether we're posting, just last week we said we need plastic bags, or the week before that we needed peanut butter, and so we always post our most needed items on there. But then there's other opportunities to come volunteer with us. There's opportunities to come to our fundraising events or networking events or awareness events. There's ways to donate books, which we'll talk about. The Book Nook. There's there's so many facets to be involved in. But I always say just sharing about us is the easiest way. You know someone in need, or you hear someone, and I always say, you never know who has 5,000 extra cans of green beans that they may need to get rid of. So there's so many ways to be a part of Broken Arrow Neighbors. But I also invite people to come to something called our Tour Neighbors Tuesday. We hold that the third Tuesday of every month. So this month it's February 17th. And they come see what we do. Come see it in action. Come see where your piece fits at Broken Arrow Neighbors. And so I would invite the public to come always join us on that third Tuesday and come see the pantry in action. So.
And what do those volunteer opportunities look like? What are people doing? Are they stocking shelves? Are they giving the food out?
Absolutely. There's several different ways to volunteer with us. We actually have drivers, and we're going to talk about going out and picking up from our Feeding America partners. There's working in our warehouse. So that's, barcoding, making sure that food items are not expired, that they're not dented, things like that. We always want the best to go out to our neighbors in need. From working our pantry. So that's literally the face-to-face interaction of building the pantry carts and then taking them to our clients. And then I say the most interactive and the most needed is our front desk volunteers. And so that is really, a client is coming in need. Sometimes they are in that very hard moment of crisis, and they're just walking in our doors. So we need that kind, smiling face that can reassure them that everything's going to be okay, whether that's we're helping them at Broken Arrow Neighbors or we're referring them to one of our amazing partners in the community. We want to make sure that we're basically taking them hand in hand through those crisis steps to make sure that they're back on their feet.
No, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So what's a time of year where you see the most need?
So A lot of people ask that, and there are several times of year that we really see peaks. So we've got a lot of different programs going during the holiday season, and so I would say that's our most visible season from our Joy for Your Neighbors programs, which is our Thanksgiving and Christmas program. But then summertime is a huge need as well because kiddos are out of school and they're needing food, and utility bills are high, which we can talk about. Helping with rental and utility bills is something we do. But we really see kind of fluctuations throughout the year of different times of need. Sometimes we see a higher need in mid-fall after the fair. That's just something we kind of see as well. A lot of families go and spend money, and then they're like, oh, crud, I don't have money for dinner this week. And so we kind of see that peak in mid-September, October. Summer is another time. But then right now is those electric bills are astronomical for people. And so we're seeing a large number come in right now for rental and utility requests. So just depending upon the time of year, we kind of consistently see different ebbs and flows.
Yeah, no, because I always see, and it's amazing, but I always see the give back campaigns that I think it's a little bit tricky. Where we think of the need being around the holidays, whether that is Christmas or Thanksgiving. Hey, it's not that people just want to say I feel noble that I helped around Thanksgiving time, but struggle is not bound to one season.
You are so right on that, and I love saying that because we see such an influx of giving during November, December, and I always love to say, but people are still hungry in January, February, and March. So
well, I thought that when I asked that question,
I
was like, there might be peaks, but. It's tough. I mean, it's tough for everybody right now when it comes to costs of living. And so I would imagine that there's always a steady need. And I think that, those campaigns are amazing, but
there's
you
always
can't just do a Thanksgiving campaign and then forget and be like, people are going to be good the rest of the year.
And so we try to spread out. And so that's another thing we do. We have different monthly food drives. This month is all the things that bring love. And so we talk about the secret ingredient is love in February, but that's all of our cold items. So milk, eggs, butter, cream cheese, creamer, things like that. That's our food drive in the month of February. But in the month of January, it's dog food and cat food items in honor of our Callie's Cart program. And so we, consistently do that throughout the year of kind of seeing what the need is. In March, we go into spring cleaning. And so our hygiene items from Dawn dish soap to making sure people have laundry detergent, all the things that to keep your home clean, that's March. So again, throughout the year, we have different food drives and drives to make sure that we're meeting the need of that season.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to dial it back a little bit and talk a little bit about you. We don't need to talk about you the whole time, but I just would love to hear your story and how you got into working for a nonprofit.
I always love to talk about that. I know I was put on this earth to be where I am today. My background actually is in emergency management and safety, and so I was very humbled to be able to work as a safety director at Hillcrest Hospital for many years. I actually worked with also Tulsa Partners, which is a consulting agency that helps people build out emergency plans, and different things like that. But my heart has always been serving nonprofits, and it was and to not give the hour version of this, but where I was leading and where I wanted to be was helping people, and where could I do that on the front lines. And so that was, working in nonprofits. I actually started in development and fundraising, and I still do that in my role as executive director. But I always say I've never asked anybody for money a day in my life. It has always been telling the story, and the story brings people to want to help, whatever organization. And so for the last 5.5 years, I've been at Broken Arrow Neighbors. Like I said, I started right during the pandemic. And so I always say my background in emergency management really helped me in that sense of, I work the emergency plan, mitigation of making sure that we never closed a day during the pandemic. And that's something that I'm so, so proud of, that we made sure that we were well and able to make sure that our volunteers had a safety protocol and things like that. And so we got out of the crazy world, which was 2020. And just since then, we've blossomed at what we do at Broken Arrow Neighbors. And so I love I love what I get to do. I love that I have the best team surrounding me doing what we do. I have the most incredible volunteers, and Broken Arrow Neighbors would not run without the amazing. We have about 60 consistent weekly volunteers with us on a daily basis. And so our pantry is fully run by our volunteers. Our warehouse is overseen by our incredible warehouse managers, but our warehouse, everything, all food that is brought in through there is all through our volunteer base. And so I'm just very, very blessed that I get to be a part of an incredible organization that does so much for Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you said that you've never asked for money, which I think is pretty cool because I mean it's the story that that really warms people's hearts to give. I think. What do you? I don't want to say one story because I'm sure you have thousands and thousands of stories. But do you have any stories that kind of stand out to you of like someone who was maybe in a sort of a dire situation and then you guys were able to kind of step in and because I would imagine it's a helping hand that people don't always know is there, and I think having that extra personal touch too, where it's like people feel seen more than just like having food.
Absolutely. So I will even start out with the vision and our mission at Broken Arrow Neighbors is assistance with dignity. That dignity piece is a huge part of that, and that from that making sure that it's client choice and things like that. But that dignity piece is kind of where the stories, and I have several that immediately came to mind, and how have programs have been created at Broken Arrow Neighbors out of these stories that I'm wanting to share. But I will never forget my very first day at Broken Arrow Neighbors, and I was answering the phones because, as executive, you just jump in. Like, where am I needed? What can I do? I answered the phone on my very first day, and I will never forget asking this gentleman. You could tell he was an older gentleman, and I said, "How can we help you? I need food." Awesome, we can do that, sir. And I said, "How many are in your household?" And he said, "There's 2 of us." And I said, "Okay," because we just want to make sure when we set up the food for the day, how many's coming? Are there 8 in your family? Currently, our largest family is a family of 19 right now. So we've got everything from single seniors to large families. But this gentleman said, "Family of 2." And I said, "Cool, can I get your names?" And he said, "Well, it's myself," and he said his name, "and Mr. Mittens." And I will never forget that because at that time we didn't have pet food in our pantry, and we'll kind of talk about Callie's Cart. But he, to this day, is one of our most amazing clients, but he will always say there's 2 people in his household, and it's him and his cat. And I love that. And I absolutely will never forget that his cat is a part of his family. And that he takes it as seriously as it was if it were a child or a grandchild of his. And I will never forget that at that time we didn't have pet food in our pantry. And how the story of Callie's Cart came about is absolutely amazing, and that's a whole nother story. But now that we have pet food in our pantry, we ask every single client that calls, "Is there a pet in your family?" And I cannot tell you how many families just burst into tears. "Oh my gosh, I can feed my pet." And pets are such a vital part of people's families, and making sure that they're fed is just as important. We always say we feed our neighbors in need, even those with 4 paws.
That's
awesome. Kind of the motto of Callie's Cart. But I will never forget that was my very first day, and how we bring not only families together, but we make sure that families are fed.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the sad part about all of it is. I've challenged people in my life when it's hard not to be in a position where you don't want for anything and you see people who are struggling and you're like, well, how did they get there? Like whatever happened. And I think people don't realize how you're like 1 or 2 bad incidents away from food insecurity. Like it is. Like I only volunteered once with them, but at Tulsa Nightlife, I believe.
Amazing
and
program.
I thought of them because they had the pet food there as well. But I just hearing some of these people's stories, you're like, I would be in the exact same situation as you if I was dealt the same hand of cards.
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing at Broken Arrow Neighbors. It is not necessarily people that are in poverty their entire life. To your point, exactly. one, they had a car accident or that some type of medical, incident that, and we know how expensive, medical care is. And if you don't have insurance or if you had to take a week off with your sick kiddo and you don't have PTO or, anything can put you right into that position. We do an amazing education about a living wage at Broken Arrow Neighbors, and that, 53% of the Tulsa area does not make a living wage. And that's what's really hard. And so when we talk about benefit cliffs, we talk about, if you are able to have SNAP benefits or you're able to have sooner care, if you're able to have free reduced lunches, but even like if you make just enough, you don't qualify for that, that's still not a living wage. And so what does that look like for families? It is approximately $98,000 for a family of four to survive. In the Tulsa area, and that's crazy. And you hear that number, and you're like, oh my gosh! But then you start adding it up, and we kind of go through a monthly breakdown of what a budget looks like, and you're like, oh yeah, that is about right. And so it's so crazy to think that any of us are one paycheck, one accident, one medical incident away from needing help, and that's why we're here.
Well, and I would probably go out on a limb and guess that some of the people that you have. Not that we should ever characterize people in these boxes, right? But I would almost go out and say there are probably people who, from an outside perspective, you see like their house is pretty nice. They have a car or whatever, and they're coming in and they're dealing with food insecurity as well.
Absolutely.
Is that situations that you see?
We see that all the time, and especially during Christmas and our Thanksgiving event. So those events are actually drive-through, really cool events. And so, I have always learned to never judge a book by its cover or anything like that. And there are some really nice cars that drive through those events, and you're like, wonder what's going on in their life. But when we're able to dig into it, they had a great job, but they have no savings. All of the money is being spent on the car and rent and food and utilities. And if you lose your job and then that's gone, you have no fallback, you have, no safety net. And then you're like, okay, now what?
And throw a little bit of student loans on top of that.
Goodness.
And,
yes.
No, one of the things that I love the most that you said is just like treating people with, what was it?
Dignity.
Treating people with dignity. Yep. But just like, that to me should be such a core tenet to how we all go about our day to day. But unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah.
It's kind of, how can I get ahead? How can I? But like, whether that's, the most tangible is someone who's out on the street. Well, we know they're probably dealing with food insecurity.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It could be someone that we're passing every day. It could be someone that we're in networking meetings with, and their business is struggling more than we realize. Yeah. And just treating people with that dignity is, that is the bare minimum, I think, of what people deserve to receive from us.
I do not disagree, and it's so hard to see when that's not a core tenet. But I even on my hat, it's dignity, compassion, and power. That's our core tenets at Broken Arrow Neighbors. And so we see that Assistance with Dignity is kind of our food program, that dignity piece, driving up for our curbside pantry program. Serving with Compassion, we really see as our financial assistance program. So that is helping people with rental and utility assistance. And so last year we did a little over $65,000 in rental and utility assistance, which is so crazy. The year before we did in the 50s. So we keep exponentially growing every year. And then finally, the Empowering the Future. We want to make sure not only that we're helping you in your crisis right now, but what are we doing to get you out of that crisis situation, back on your feet, back being a productive working citizen, and making sure that not that we don't want to see you again, but that kind of came out of a situation. We were seeing the grandchildren of people that had started coming to see us when we opened in 1983. And so what are we doing to help end that generational need on basic needs agencies? And so that's our Jumpstart program, which we're really excited about. So just lots of things that we do at Broken Arrow Neighbors, but we could not do it without the community. We could not do it without our partners. We really couldn't do it out with the support of Broken Arrow.
So what are some of your biggest needs, I guess, just as BA neighbors, what are your biggest needs, or I guess maybe even some struggles that you have with being a
absolutely.
nonprofit?
So our greatest need right now is hygiene items. We are great on food. I will never say we never do not need food, but we have got a lot of food. During the SNAP cuts in October, November, the community was incredibly outpouring of amazing food. So, but hygiene is still one of our greatest needs. So, like I said, feminine hygiene products, Dawn dish soap is gold at Broken Arrow Neighbors. Laundry detergent, dishwasher detergent, toothpaste, mouthwash, shampoos, conditioners, body wash, everything, because we say not only do you get food and pet food, we want to make sure that you can clean your house, your food, your items, yourself. That's really, really important to us. So hygiene items is a great need right now. But honestly, we are also able to purchase food, being a partner of the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma at a discounted rate. So always financial donations are appreciated to Broken Arrow Neighbors to make sure that we can purchase those foods that we need, because we offer fresh produce. We offer through our Feeding America partners. So that's the other part of how big our network is. So we currently have 32 Feeding America partners in the community that we pick up from over 70 times a week. So if you ever see the Broken Arrow Neighbors van out and about, you know that our vans are out getting food, bringing it back to Broken Arrow Neighbors, and getting it out fresh to our neighbors in need. And so our vans are decorated, I would say, in the best way. They have fruits and vegetables all over them. So one is named fruit, veggie, meat, and dairy. So we don't call it van 1, 2, 3, 4. We have them all decorated in different fruits and vegetables for our food. So it's kind of fun. But we have a campaign on social media, Spot the Van. So if you take a snap of it and see it out in the community and post it on social media and tag us, we have some fun items for you to tag us. So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
I guess my question that I was thinking of was, how can people find what your current needs are? Are those on your website, on your social media?
They are. So we always keep our most needed items list up to date on our website, which is baneighbors.org, but also our social media. I would say that is the best way to find immediately what we're needing. We try to post at least once or twice a week if there's a surging need. Last week we were posting about plastic bags. We go through about 2,000 plastic bags every month, which is just crazy to think about.
Trash bags?
Walmart bags.
Walmart bags.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Walmart bags, Target bags, because all of it is amazingly put in each bag with love, with care for our food program.
So when people get their groceries and they're just going to throw those away and add them to the landfill, they could bring them to you?
They can recycle them at Broken Arrow Neighbors.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I think this is a future conversation, but I think it would be really cool to do a little bit more of a video there. Whether I'm doing some work there or whatever, but I think it would be kind of cool to give people sort of a here's behind this. And I'm sure I haven't looked much at your guys' socials. I'm sure you have a lot of behind the scenes.
We do, but we would love for you to come out and see it. And that's also that Tour Neighbors Tuesday. We would love for you to join us at that, or if that doesn't work for you, any other time. But I love for people to see our pantry in action. You really cannot see the magnitude of what we do. We have between 20 and 26 appointments every single day. And like I said, those families are from single families, or single mamas with, kiddos, to our largest family of 19 right now. So we get all of the bags and things ready. They go out in shopping carts, just like you're at a grocery store. And people are going home with a month's worth of food, just the right size for their family, but it's all choice, and that's again what's so important. But from our Feeding America partners, so one of our Feeding America partners is Costco. One of our newest ones is Trader Joe's, which we're so excited about that they're one of our new partners. But people are going home with fresh produce. They're going home with eggs and milk, and I love when our larger families can go home with those huge Costco meals. That's amazing, and to see moms unloading their cart into their car, and they're like, oh my gosh, yesterday we had a platter of cookies from Costco, and we saved that for a mom that was having a birthday party for her kiddos. And so there's just so many things that we see firsthand that it's that dignity. It's making sure that every family is feeling seen and feeling heard and taken care of in that moment of crisis.
Which, nonprofits like this are I think they're like the backbone of a healthy community, truly. I mean, like with the stuff I'm doing, I really want to help lift up business owners and if we drive some more money to their business, that's great. But ultimately through all of it, what I really want is the business owners who are active in the community to be rewarded for that. And just hearing like even the thoughtfulness of having, cookies for a birthday party and things like that. I mean, like you said, like the dignity that it gives back to that parent. Because you never know who needs that lift up. And like you said, in an ideal scenario, they get the help from you and then they don't need you. And later they can come help you out there. And I think back to, I had a friend growing up and he has 5 siblings, so it was 6 of them. And, his mom was on government assistance and they were, using all the resources that they could. And that's what got them through the first, 4 kids. So it's just, dad had a steady job, but it's expensive. I mean, you have that many kids.
It's expensive. And you truly never know. And that's always our biggest thing is we never judge anyone who comes through our door. You never know their situation. You never know what's going on in their life. And we are there to be a resource, but also to be a helping hand to make sure that they just feel seen. And that's just so important to us that no matter what's going on in their life, there is someone there that one believes in them, that wants to help them. No judgment. We are just there to make sure that we're a helping hand. And so, like I said, there's so many different things, and I could talk for hours with you about all the things that we do, but food is the heart of what brings a lot of people in. But then that financial assistance, making sure people, families are staying in their homes. That's so important, especially during winter weather, that people have heat and people have their lights on and that there is a roof over their head. And truly, people do not realize how, again, we've talked about this over and over, how close it is that people, single mamas. And I think that's just thinking about the last couple days, just here in February, so many of the financial requests that have come in are of single moms that are like, hey, my husband left. I don't have an income coming in. I was staying at home with the kiddos. I don't know where to start to get a job. I don't have childcare, and I can't pay the rent. We're kind of starting at ground zero, and so we're there to walk through all of that with them. So.
No, that's incredible. I mean, and it's like, it's one of those things that when I think of nonprofits, they're so behind the scenes. As much as you guys, as much as you do what you can to kind of. You're not trying to be seen for your efforts, but you do need to be seen in the sense of your ability to provide for people. So that's where I think it's a really amazing opportunity for whether it's someone with a platform, a business, whatever. Like it costs you $0 to tell someone about BA Neighbors, what they do, and then if you have the means to give and donate, that's icing on the cake for sure.
That is icing on the cake. But I mean, even other programs that we offer, we have something called our Neighbors Book Nook, and we are partners with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library for Wagner County. And so if you're able to donate used books, and so that's another way to be a part of this. We sell books in our Book Nook every other Friday and Saturday, and the calendar's on our social media. But we have a Book Nook sale from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, and every dollar that goes into that comes right back to Broken Arrow Neighbors, and is making sure that we can keep people's lights on and put food on their tables. And so that is our other, kind of venture into what we do. But that's also the Jumpstart program, is making sure that people have access to books and literacy, and making sure that people can read, and making sure that people have access to just learning about the world around them is such a key part of making sure of how we get them into that next step of life. And so if they want to come join us for our Book Nook sales, we'd love to have you. Our sale is actually this Friday and Saturday. I don't know when this is going to air, but you can check on our social media. So
Friday the 6th.
The 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th.
Yep. So from 9 to 1, but then in 2 weeks we'll have another one, and come out and join us. But we've got everything from children's books to puzzles to the it is amazing. It looks like we call it the Neighbor's Book Nook, but it's a little bookstore. And so fiction, nonfiction, cookbooks.
My wife might want to check that out.
It's so much fun, and it's
a big reader.
It's the little book nook out back at Broken Arrow Neighbors.
So events coming up.
Yeah.
You have the 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
The book nook,
Yeah.
and then you have your what was the thing on the Tuesdays called?
Tour Neighbors Tuesdays.
Tour Neighbor Tuesdays,
Yep.
which is on the
February 17th. Yep. But our largest event of the year is coming up in April. We would love for people to join us at Hunger in Your Backyard, which is our annual, we call it our Hunger Awareness Luncheon this year. It's going to be held at the Mayo on Friday, April 24th, coming up. And so invitations are going actually out for that this week, but it's also out on our social media at hungerinyourbackyard.com. We would love for our community to come support, be sponsors of that. That is the one fundraising event we have every year to fund all that we do at Broken Arrow Neighbors.
So how does that work if somebody did want to attend?
Yeah, so we would love, you can go to hungerinyourbackyard.com. You can sponsor a table and become a sponsor. We've got also floral sponsors. We've got valet sponsors. We've got print sponsors. So whatever way your business or your family wants to be a part of that, we would love for you to be a part of that. But yeah, you can come and either sponsor a table or individual ticket sales. But it is going to be an amazing luncheon to learn about what's all going on at Broken Arrow Neighbors.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, my mind just keeps going back to, like, it's so easy if you have no lack of food to not think about what's going on around you, admittedly. Yeah. And I don't think that's inherently wrong, but I think it is really hard to not. It's hard to think of it if you're not going through it and dealing with it. And as much as we can bring, recognition to it, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we are currently the 46th hungriest state in the United States as Oklahoma. And we've kind of gone up and down between 46th and 49th in the past couple of years. But 1 in 9 Oklahomans rely on SNAP benefits. And that's really, kind of crazy to think about. I believe the number is 652,000 Oklahomans rely on SNAP benefits. And that was, of course, very apparent this past fall of when those SNAP benefits stopped. And that became imperative why Broken Arrow Neighbors existed. And so we saw a dramatic increase in those 3 weeks of people in need because, again, they're just making ends meet. So they have that SNAP benefits and they're able to put food on the table. But still, what happens when that doesn't exist? So that's why we're there. So.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I mean, I even think there's a woman who's in a networking group I'm in who is with Housing Solutions.
Yes, Amanda Grace.
Yes, Amanda.
Yes.
I wasn't going to name drop, but yes,
Sorry,
Amanda. She's
we love
amazing.
Amanda.
Amanda's amazing. But just she was talking about I don't remember what the terminology is for it, but it was the amount of youth who are basically homeless, if not couch hopping, and it was a dramatically large number in Broken Arrow.
Yeah, it is crazy. So there is a program called McKinney-Vento.
There we go.
Yeah,
yes.
McKinney-Vento program, and that makes sure that kids stay in the school district. When they start the school year at Broken Arrow, they stay in it. It is a federal program that each school district does have. And I will say last year, we kind of, again, see peaks and valleys through that. I believe there's like over 460 students currently on McKinney-Vento. At peak in the last school year, it was over 700 students that were identified. And I think what's important to talk about that is identified students. That means they either self-identified or teachers, principals, counselors noticed something was going on. Were they wearing the same clothes every day? Were they, just something going on in their lives that they were identified? But so many families do not identify and are scared of what that may mean if they identify as a McKinney-Vento student or, couch hopping or things like that. Are their kids going to be taken away from them? Are they living in their car? What does that look like? And so it's just so important to know that there are resources and that we're there to help. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing. But no, we are actually partners with Housing Solutions and Away Home for Tulsa. Mm-hmm. And I always say Away Home for Tulsa County because Broken Arrow is in Tulsa County. And I think that's so important because we all are in a network together to make sure that our unhoused individuals in any community taken care of.
And that's what stood out to me the most, I think, talking to her and talking to you, is just hearing the network of resources that you all have at your organizations, which I think is so crucial.
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately, in bigger scales, nonprofits sometimes get a bad rap because of use of funds and where money is going. But just hearing like the genuine heart behind it and all of the give back, and it's so true to the core tenet of what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And in being a local initiative that is truly lifting people out of these situations, giving them dignity, giving them options. Like even with Housing Solutions, it's like not just giving them housing. We also have partnerships of how can we help get them to a place of employment or sustainability, like longer term, more than just like we're going to feed you for the week and then good luck.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's so important, that we all are working towards that sustainability, or that like at Broken Arrow Neighbors, that empowerment for the future, making sure that they're back on their feet, that they have a sustainable job, that they know that we're there if they need us in the future. But there's so many people that want to help, and I think that's what's so awesome about the community of amazing nonprofits in our network. And again, I cannot say enough good things about Housing Solutions and A Way Home for Tulsa. So
yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and talking about it. I would love if you could just plug the website and where people can find you, and then
absolutely. So our website is baneighbors.org, and our social media is at Broken Arrow Neighbors on Facebook and at BA Neighbors on Instagram. And we're also on TikTok as well. We have some fun things on there, but the things that we put out that are our greatest needs are on Facebook and Instagram. So,
sounds good. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.